It's now time for Remember When with Uncle John. John Guess, Ouachita County's resident storyteller and local historian. Sit back now and enjoy a walk down memory lane as John recalls the days of yesteryear in his own unique way. You never know, some of it might even be true. So here's Uncle John, along with his trusty sidekick, Kelly Blair.
Back on Remember When with Uncle John. Well, we have done it. We have survived yet another Monday, rolling along here on a terrific Tuesday on Remember When with Uncle John. Johnny, what you got on your mind today, man?
Well, it's June the 6th.
Yes, sir.
And in my daddy's generation, that was D-Day.
Oh,
World War II.
Invasion of Normandy.
My daddy was in the Normandy invasion. We have no idea at what point he was in it, what part he took in it. He didn't talk about it. My brother is actively at this point in his life researching some of the information. We're trying to find out some things about it. But my daddy passed away in 1976 at age 57. And from the time he got back in 1946, he never talked about it. He didn't talk to my mama about it. He never mentioned it, didn't say anything about what went on, what part he was in. But it was, of course, the turning point in World War II. There's a whole lot of people listening to this right now that only know about those things, from what they've read in the history books.
Yep. Because it was their grandfathers.
That's right. And it was, as they say, the greatest generation.
Without question.
The day my daddy passed away at 57, had he have been called to go, he'd have went again. Mm-hmm. I heard him say that a lot of times. If necessary, he'd go again. It was a monumental thing in his life. He joined the Arkansas National Guard, and he had a 2-year hitch, and he was 3 weeks away from being out.
Holy cow!
When they bombed Pearl Harbor, and of course they federalized, they nationalized all the National Guard troops, and he ended up going to California. We know that because my mama went to California and stayed with him before he left to go to Europe.
Right.
But from the time he left, really until he got back, by the time she would get a letter from him, it would be so old she wouldn't know whether he was alive or dead. And like so many of the soldiers, he got trench foot. He went so long in wet boots and socks, he didn't take them off. His feet were flat as a board. His toenails actually rotted in his toes. And he could not, I've still got a box of arch supports. He could not take a step flat-footed.
Oh, wow.
He could not take one step. When he got out of the bed, he slid his feet into house shoes with arch supports in them. And I can remember as a young boy trying to help him cut his toenails. And it was just, they were just terrible. And, but, he was proud of it, even though he never spoke of it. The only reference I ever heard him make was he had a service station in Chittister, and there were some people that the law, I think it was some convicts had broken out of a jail, and they were searching for him in the area up there, and some of the loafers that hung around his station kind of quizzed him on, he'd get there in the morning before daylight, and Alfred, aren't you scared to get out with that money bag and walk around the corner of that building into the dark, to open it up? And I'll never forget it. I heard him say that he had already been as scared as he was ever going to be again.
Mm-hmm.
And, he wasn't a braggadocious type person, but like so many of them, he had already experienced, all the scared that he is going to be. But, I was 16 when he passed away, and you hadn't lived long enough to know the questions to ask. So what I would give to spend 5 minutes with him, to ask some of those questions. But hopefully my brother and I will find out some through some of the internet channels that we've gotten a hold of. But June 6, 1944 was the turning point of World War II. And of course, none of us here at the time knew that then, but a lot of people didn't come back. A lot of people did, and were never the same again. And to all those people, our heartfelt thank you.
Absolutely. And, just the sheer size of this invasion, to me, is mind-boggling. Something like 1.4 million troops involved. You can only imagine. I mean, it was, you can only imagine the number of ships that it took to get them over there, the amount of Air Force that flew in support, the tanks, the assault guns, the boats that landed on the beach. I mean, just a massive undertaking. It's hard to wrap your brain around. So I would encourage everybody to go back and look at that. And it most certainly defined an entire generation.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, that's going to wrap up Remember When with Uncle John. We are so glad to be able to come to you with the freedom of speech and be able to talk to you about all these stories. And it's because of those brave men back then taking the fight to Germany, even though they went through France to do it. You know, I was always confused about that. I thought the invasion of Normandy, I thought they invaded Germany. Actually, they landed in France.
That's right.
They had to get to Germany.
Yes.
Yeah, no, okay. Anyway. Okay, so maybe I should have got a B in history instead of A. I don't know. But, folks, it's our pleasure to come to you and do this show, and we got to thank Sherwin-Williams House Paint, the Shopper's Guide, ProMed Ambulance Service for providing us the opportunity to do this. Without them putting their money where their mouth is, this show would not be possible. I guess we'll see you tomorrow, John.
See you tomorrow, Kelly.
You've been listening to Remember When with Uncle John on Y95. This broadcast can be heard each weekday morning at 6:45 on South Arkansas's favorite station, Y95.